Hello everybody, this is Pete from PA Labs, and this is chapter 5, I believe, from the book Video 2. So I'm going to be, now that I have the PDF of the book, what I'm going to be doing is reviewing the code, and then first video is going to be talking through the logic and explaining to try to make it very clear what it is we're trying to achieve. And then the second video we'll be going through the code examples. Okay, so I've tweaked all of these. This has the same concept as before. We open our window, and then we open our graphics window inside the window. These match in size, so instead of before we had the black screen on the screen, I guess, I've made some changes to the actual window. So this time on the window, I've gone ahead and added a title bar and a few of the other parameters here instead of putting in the no borders. Okay, so if we come over here and I hit F1 and let's stretch this out to where it's visible, let's make it bigger. Okay, so we have all these options we can put out there, and I had borderless. That was making it be a black screen, just no definitive border edges or title bar. So what I've done is I've added back that title bar. So now when this runs, and though you're going to see the whole thing, now you see it in the framed window with a title bar. That's all coming from this top line right there. And how it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and let it end. Now, once we open up this windowed screen, we have to go back. Remember, put your brain into the mode that you're building a film strip. Okay, a film strip that's going to play at 60, 70 frames per second, each individual frame on that film strip, right? So we're displaying the first one, and then so what we're doing here is we are displaying the first film cell, okay, of our film strip, and it says, okay, clear the screen. We're going to define a variable. Now, I haven't really gone into this lower level of explanation of code, so we're in BASIC. There's it's a very forgiving language. It doesn't make you be case sensitive in your variables. I could define the variable there, and down here EAR. Whoops. Oh goodness, I can't type this morning at all. All right, so the code has no problem knowing that this is the same as this, even though the case is very different. Now, normally when you define variables, we block off a header section up here at the top, and we'll say define, and we're going to say clear color. I'll just copy that up here. Oh, we have a vent being defined too. And we say okay, so we have a vent and clear color defined. Now, I'm not typing them, okay? And by typing, we would say normally .I for integer, all right? These would be integers. In pure BASIC, a long is a great big integer, and an integer is a lot smaller. And by great big, we're talking 38, 39 digits long. So I don't even know what we even call 38 digits, to be honest with you, but it's way above trillions and billions and all of that. Okay, so a normal integer usually suffices for millions. So here we're defining two integers. Even if I don't say it's an integer automatically. So you can define things as a float. I think I covered this in the other video. So which is a fractional unit, so it can be a 3.215 or any other sort of number. Or you can define a string as .s, and that would be, the sprite system can't be initialized as a string. It's just a text value. Alternatively, you can define that as just throwing a $sign on the end, and that automatically makes it a string. So normally we define all our variables before we get started, and then we use them. We won't be getting heavily into this until later. These are very small and short programs, but be aware that if I did this, then Pure Basic has no problem with this being defined right there. And no, this is not this. Okay, so by deleting that R. So try to be careful if you're typing these in or just reviewing mine. Be understanding of that. Most languages require everything to be defined, and we can force Pure Basic to do that with option explicit as a command we would put up here at the very, very top, which option explicit says every single variable has to be defined beforehand. And that is an excellent programming practice that we will get into probably in the next series of chapters. So let's go through this. This is looking at if, condition, then else, and end if. If you got a beginning, you have to have an end. So let's come down here and say, okay, kind of like this, start, stop. You're going to start drawing physically to the screen. We've already defined our screen as black, and alternatively we could have just put a pound black there. So here we're saying start drawing physically to the screen at 0, 0. I hate putting it way at the top. Let's go ahead and space it down. S is x, y, Cartesian coordinates. So this is x, this is y, so this is your vertical. So we're going to say enter 1 or some other number, and then we're going to flip buffers. So what that causes is this to be displayed. Now, here's where things get kind of weird. So it's going to sit here, and we're going to define this string of answer. All right, we're going to define him to be nothing. Now, if you notice, that's a capital A, and this is not a capital A, and this is a capital A. All of those are the same. In most languages, they are two different variables. So now what we're going to do, this is throwing in a while inside our if. The focus of this one really is that. But up here, we're going to throw this while in on you. And while runs to a W end. So the code's going to sit here and loop until he gets an answer. It is not going to see this line until something on the keyboard is typed, and whatever it is you type is put into our string variable answer. Now, you'll notice you'll get kind of a squirrely you won't get a normal cursor with your cursor on the screen because it can't render the cursor because the code is sitting here looping these, and technically comment lines never get compiled. So we're going from 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code. That processor is running these 4 lines of code at probably 1,000 times a second, waiting for us to type a key. It can't do anything else. All it can do is sit here, and it will sit here forever until we type a key. When he types a key, that automatically breaks us out of this and kicks us down here to clear the screen again. and start drawing the output screen again, and we're going to say if, and this is the focus of this whole piece of code, if the answer equals 1, then draw text you entered a 1, press any key to exit. Else, so this is a binary choice, so it's either this or it's automatically this. Now, we could have come in here and said else if answer equals 2. Okay, and then we could draw some other text and say else, and we can come into here and say okay, you entered a 2. Duh. Okay, so you can do this forever. You can come into this and start another if, okay, and have some other set of conditions. And inside that if, you can put another if. You can do this ad nauseum as long as you want. So anyhow, this is what we're doing. We're doing an if, then else, or else if. It's phenomenally fast. And then we're going to flip buffers again and display that. And then we're going to sit here at a repeat until a keyboard letter is pressed. All right? So let's look at our code. Notice how this appears down below. Notice my cursor is in a wait cursor. The screen doesn't know what to render. It can't render anything. I can't do anything to this screen. If I do that, look at what happens. I've broken it. So let's go ahead. No, cancel. Let's wait for it to respond. Let's see. Let's see if we can. No, I broke it. It doesn't know what to do. It's freaking out. All right, so we know we got to do something cool to that to fix it. So let's come in here and look at this. We're sitting here, and I'm going to enter a 2. Hey, look at that. You entered a 2. Press any key, and then the screen goes away. All right, so that is how this works. Now, normally, you would have the double repeats, one for each screen, so it's displaying this over and over and over. But the author of the book wants us to do it singularly like this, so you can understand how you're changing the screen and flipping the individual cells of what's being displayed. Okay? So I think my time has gotten away from me. I've gotten long-winded. So let's go ahead and end this one. And the next few of these are going to be really fast. I'll speed that up real quick because we've actually already looked at this one. It's the same code, except he's got the whole thing in a while keyboard is here. So you've already familiar now with the while end. So this is while some condition. All right. So while this keyboard all equals nothing. So while you haven't hit a key, I'm sitting here inside this. I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting forever. Okay. So if we run this guy, let's take a look at him. So he's blinking away. And there we go. He's done. So he's doing this. All right. Now let's come over here and let's do a for next. Or for next. So here we're going to say start drawing our screen. And then we're going to say for rows. And normally this is just a X or Y or N or I. We're going to say 0 to 9. So he's going to loop this 9 times, 10 times. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And all we're doing is we're going to draw text at whatever the value this is, which we're starting off at 0. And then we're going to increment him by 16. So we're going to get 10 of those 16 pixels apart. And then he's going to say press any key to enter. So poof, there's our 10 of those. Press any key to enter. All right, so this one he entitled Really Quit, and I'm not necessarily too sure why. Oh, he's asking the question in the middle of this. So, all right. And here we're throwing in we're throwing in a bunch of these. I see what he's doing. So we're in a big while, right? While edit execution is false, and you can say false, which might make this have more sense. And this is while that's false, and then and you don't want to keep redefining it. That's something he does that's wrong. So once you've defined, oops, that's the definitional one. So we're going to say you're a binary byte type thing. So here he's going to say, while this condition is false, or is true, so that's true, clear the screen. We're going to draw hello basic. We're going to flip the buffers, clear the screen, flip the buffers, and we're going to sit here and say, do all of this, and then we're going to come back and say, do you really want to quit when you hit something? And then we're going to sit here until we get the key to get the typed, and then we're going to evaluate that you hit answer. And God, I don't like how he does this. You don't need to define a variable every time. You just define it once, and then all of this junk goes away. All right, so we're going to set our end condition true, which means that this while condition is now false, and the code picks up after the W end, and it ends. So now we come in here, so we're blinking hello pure basic, and oh, that one didn't work. Wonder what I got wrong in here. I'll look at it. Let's see. Ah, there it goes. Come on. There we go. Did you see that? It's a little finicky. All right. Do you really want to quit? Yes. Or we can run it, and we can say, it's blinking. I hit a key. Do you really want to quit? And as long as I type any other key, it goes right back to doing it. And then he doesn't oh, there he goes. He recovers somewhere. That's not the best code in the world. But that's okay. You can see the point, how we're nesting all of these if conditions. Okay, so repeat. Repeat says we're going to repeat technically forever, but we get to the bottom of the repeat, and you have until condition is true. Okay, so this is, I think, the same one as before, only we're going to do a repeat until. Now, this can also be repeat forever, and instead we can put a break here, and that will get us out. So you got to be careful of these repeats and whiles to make sure that the exiting condition is actually struck by your code. So this one, come on, there we go. And if I say no, it should go back in. And come on, catch my key again. I don't know what it's doing necessarily. There it goes. Whoops. There it goes. Okay. And then you can say yes and have it exit. Same basic concept for these. So take a look at the code. Go through it for a while. Oh, I see. These delays are what is causing that weirdness. All right. There's a whole lot better way to write this, but I'm going to stay with the book. So thank you all very much for watching. This puts all the code out there. The code is all on my website, so you can go out there and download it. and examine it and walk through it yourself. There's a trillion lines of comments in here for you to understand what's going on as well. And I want to thank you all for watching.